Okay, we're going to take a look at Logan. Note, mine looks different because mine is a promo card. Okay, Logan, he has 10 health, 6 hand size. Setup. Search your deck and discard pile for Wolverine's Claws upgrade and put it into play. We'll talk about it later, but it will be referring about this card. Wolverine, 5 hand size, 10 health, 2/2/2 across the board. Healing factor. After the player phase begins, heal 2 damage. So you take your turn, the villain does theirs, and then when it's back to the player phase, or essentially Wolverine's turn again, heal 2 damage. Pretty simple. You could do any action that is on the left hand side. Thwart is for the villain scheme, or the villain, yeah, the side schemes, or the main objective. Attacking is the villain or any other villain, bad guy out in play. When you take an attack, you exhaust your character, and whatever your defense is, in this case 2, you take 2 less damage. When you're on the Logan side, or the alter ego side, you recover, so you gain 6 health when you do your basic recovery action. Let's talk about his main card, the Wolverine's Claws. So when you draw your first hand, if this is in your starting hand, you definitely want to take it out to draw the 6th card, because this one says you're going to put it into play. So essentially, if this is taking up your hand, you get to put it into play for free. Otherwise, you're going to look through your deck and bring it and put it into play. So your starting field will look like this, plus your hand. Permanent, you can never lose this card. Okay, so this has an action. You could exhaust the claws and choose an attack event, something like this one, attack event. You could exhaust these claws and take damage equal to its cost. You could play that event, ignoring its resource. That attack gains piercing. So essentially, you use your life points, your health, to pay for this card instead of using other cards from your hand. In this case, you would take 3 damage in order to play this card. There is one event that benefits using this, especially, but if you want to save up the cards in your hand, you could use it with this, but this attack will gain piercing. Piercing goes through toughness. They lose the tough and they still take damage. Let's look at another card. Adamantium Skeleton. It costs 2, it's an upgrade. We're gonna talk about upgrades. So you're gonna get plus 4 hit points. So instead of 10, you're at 14, and anytime you recover, you cannot go more than 14. If you ever lose this card, you go back to 10, or whatever you're at. Also, you get plus 1 attack, so you'll be 2 thwart, 3 attack, and 2 defense. Plus 1 attack, and your attacks gain piercing. Your basic attack, when you attack a villain, when you use a basic attack, you'll have 3 piercing damage. So you could go through the tough with just a basic attack. Berserker Frenzy. This is a good one. It costs 2, and it's in condition. This is a good one to have, so you want to bring it out as soon as possible. It's not going to help when you have less damage. Let's talk about why. Hero response. After Wolverine takes any amount of damage from an enemy attack, from the villain or a minion, any enemy attacks you, draw 1 card. Here's the bad part. Forced response. After you flip to alter ego form, discard this card. So it's better to have this as soon as possible because you'll be at the more health that you have. The less health you have, the sooner you'll have to turn back to alter ego. Anytime you do so, you lose this card. It's better because it's a cheap card, and every time you take damage, instead of having 5 cards, you're going to probably start your turn with 6 or 7, 8. Depends how much damage you could take. The less damage you could take, the longer you stay in hero form, besides the healing, and the more cards you will get to draw with this card. Another upgrade, cost 4, I Got Better. It is a superpower. When you interrupt, when you would be defeated by an enemy attack, instead set your hit point dial to 5, ready your identity, and discard this card. So if you're lower health, this actually combos with this one as well, because it doesn't force you to go to alter ego like some of the other ones do. So if you're going to be defeated, and if you defended or whatever, and still defeated, go back to 5, ready your identity, and discard this card. And you could always bring this back out later because it does not say remove from the game. You discard it, means it goes back to your discard pile. So it combos with this because you took the damage, you get to draw the card, and you haven't had to be forced to flip. Let's talk about the supports. Logan's Cabin. So it costs 1, a support, and a location. Alter ego action. Exhaust this card. So you exhaust this to draw a card. Shuffle 1 Wolverine card from your discard pile into your deck. So any card that has the Wolverine symbol, you get to shuffle it from your discard pile into your deck. However, you could only do it while you're Logan. You could play it as a Wolverine, but you cannot use its ability unless you're an alter ego. So it's only good to use when you're alter ego. And you could use it as many times. So if, let's say you did your turn and you want to flip, you healed or whatever, use it, shuffle the card, and then on the next turn, when you're ready, you could use it again before you flip back to Wolverine. So you would have used it twice and gotten 2 cards instead of 1, depending on when you want to play it and use it. Okay, Wolverine's only ally, Jubilee. She costs 2, she thwarts 1, and she attacks for 1. She's an X-Man, she has 2 health. Response: after Jubilee enters play, choose an enemy. Until the end of the phase, while Wolverine or Jubilee is making a basic attack, they get +2 for this attack. So she's a good one to play right away on your turn when you haven't attacked or defended, because let's say you want to attack the main villain. 1 + 3 just for the turn, and Wolverine's 2 + 2, so 4 because of the boost. It only happens on the turn you play her. So she's one of the ones you want to play first before you attack, because you could gang up on the villain or another minion, a stronger minion, and just for that turn, they get +2 attack each. Note, she will take the 1 damage because of the consequential still. Okay. Regenerative Healing. It is a superpower. Action, choose. Heal 4 damage from your identity. So besides your healing factor, where you're going to gain 2, you could also gain 4, or discard a stunned and a confused status card from the identity. Okay, you could only have 1 of each of these anyway. Stun stops your next attack, basic attack, or an attack event, like the lunging strike. Any attack. The next attack, the stun would negate it. Confused works almost the same way, except it's a thwarting the side scheme or the main scheme or the scheme, and it stops that next one. You can only have 1 of each if it happens to do so, besides the tough, which would block the next attack. So even if you just have 1 and you need to attack or need to thwart, Regenerative healing will get rid of this, and you'll be able to do your basic thwart action or thwart event. Same thing with the stun. You could do one of each, or just one. Track by scent. It's a 2-cost event. It's a superpower thwart. So if you were confused, this would not work. But let's not talk about that. Hero action, thwart. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, draw 2 cards. So if any villain objective has less than 3, use this because you'll remove it, you'll clear it, and you draw 2 cards. Otherwise, depending how much threat is there, maybe you have to do a basic thwart to remove 2, and then hopefully play this one to do the 3. The beneficial card is to remove, this has to remove it to draw 2 cards. You do have 2 of these in your deck. Lunging strike. You have 3 of these. It costs 3 to play and it's an attack. Hero action, attack. Deal 8 damage to an enemy. So 8 damage to any enemy. If you exhausted Wolverine's claws to play this card, this attack gains overkill. Overkill works where any excess damage to the enemy goes to the villain. So it's almost a 2-for-1 or just 1 full attack. But you only get the overkill if you played with this. So remember, this will pay for the card itself, but it costs you your life points, your hero points. So exhaust the claws. You could only do it when this is not exhausted. Exhaust the claws, pay 3 life to play this one, and it'll be overkill if you want to attack a minion and the villain. Otherwise, just pay 3 resources to deal 8 damage to an enemy. Next one, Berserker Barrage. It costs 2. It's an attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats an enemy, you may take 2 damage and repeat this ability. I don't know if I need to explain that one a little bit more. And your last event, Slice and Dice. It is 3. Hero action, make the following 2 attacks in order. Deal 3 damage to an enemy, and then 3 damage to an enemy. You could deal 3 damage to one enemy, and then 3 damage to another enemy, or 3 damage first, and then another 3 damage. Does not matter, but you make the following 2 attacks. So essentially 6 damage for 3 cost. And that is how you play Wolverine.